Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom. And today I'm, as promised, here's the video to go with our team blog hop that we did yesterday. And mine was, of course, it's Sunday, so it's a fun fold. And this is just a fun 4-way fold card. And you can see here, you can almost use it as a mini album because it opens out with lots of different panels. So you could either write your sentiment on these sections. If you've got lots of people wanting to sign, you could have that as a panel of white stamped, or you could use the reverse that I've done here. And yeah, so here you go. So it's a bit, yeah, cards like this have been around a while, so I don't claim to be the originator of this, but the way I've done it, it does mean that actually it will stand up. I think sometimes with some of these cards with flaps, they don't always. So you do get that nice kind of effect on this one of lots of different things. So that's what I'm using. And what am I using? So I'm using the lovely new Gingko branch stamp set. I do love a Gingko biloba. I have to say it. Yeah, I just love the leaves on these. You can see here. This is the detailed die. So Gingko branch is the stamp set. You've got this lovely spray here, a couple of separate ones and some sentiments. You know me, I always like a set that's got a few sentiments in it as well. In preparation for another project, here are plenty of pre-die cut pieces so that I can use my stamp apparatus. And you can see here the dies. So not only have you got the dies to cut out these the main floral images, but you've got this beautiful detailed one, which is what I've used as an overlay here. And you've also got this sentiment bar as well, and the other detailed die is this one here as well. So a bit of detailed die cutting as well. So let's get started. We're going to start with the die cutting. So what I've got here is a scrap of some paper, fancy flora paper. So this isn't designed to go with this, but I just thought it's lovely. It's kind of lovely generic floral images, but on the back it's got this kind of painted gouache. So this is the DSP 6x6, 48 sheets, so 4 each of 12 designs. And you can see here lovely kind of, you know, painted effects, some florals, more generic. That's probably my least favourite. Kind of feels a bit muddy, you know, but it is useful. I like that side more than I like the soft suede, but I love this. Look at these beautiful pinks and purples, my favourites. Again, you know, like an artist's palette really. It's a bit like the paint texture embossing folder that we've got actually, and in fact I might use that on another project. But you've got some lovely colours, so everything from pastels through to the stronger colours, and the colours we've got in here include sort of we've got balmy blue, basic grey, calypso coral, which you can see here, evening evergreen, and fresh, there's a bit of evening evergreen, fresh freesia for the loveliest of purples, night of navy, orchid oasis, which is obviously one of the new in colours. That's this one here. Look at that lovely colour. Pool party and soft sea foam, soft suede as I've mentioned, and soft succulent. So you really got a whole range of colours to play with, and obviously with those you've got sort of other shades. So I paired the calypso coral that's in here with some I used by the looks of it petal pink on that one. So there we go. But you could, if you're using it on your own, I think you could probably pick out a bit of blushing bride in there as well. So lots of colours to choose from. Okay, so let's get started. As I've said, other things I've done in advance, I've die cut you some post-it notes, or you could use our masking paper, some of the floral images as well. As I've said, I've got a piece of scrap piece that I always keep of card with some double multi-purpose adhesive sheet on the back. So all I'm going to do is just put that on, because I don't need a whole full image, because you can see here I'm going to be, you know, sort of trimming it down a bit. So all I'm going to do is just attach that so that I've got pretty much the whole image on there. So when that die cuts, because you can see I haven't used the stems hardly at all on there. So I'm going to die cut that one. I've got another scrap here as well, which I'm going to use to die cut the other small image as well. And then that will go back into my pack of multi-purpose sheet ready to use for another project. And I just use a bit of post-it note tape. Those of you who've watched me before will know this is what I tend to do. Just pop that on there just to hold them in place while I die cut. So once those have been through, you might want to pop them through a couple of times, particularly the larger image, but you will get this beautiful image that's here. And that will just pop out, she says. And obviously that is double-sided now, so I'm going to leave it there till I'm ready to use it. If I press those down well, hopefully when I lift that up it'll just take the outline. And this one again, you can see that it's just dropping away already there. And some of those pieces, so I'll still get rid of the stray pieces now. You can always take your pick tool to get rid of some of those as well, just to make sure that they're ready to go. Okay, so those will be ready for us to use shortly. So now let's start with our actual card itself. So I thought, having made it in sort of Calypso Coral, I'd go for some of the lovely kind of purpley shades now. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a sheet of DSP for the inside. You're going to want to use one for your contrast pieces, and you're going to want two pieces which are 15 by 15, 6 by 6 centimetres for the card. And as we go through, I've already pre-cut the various panels, and I'll go through the measurements of those as we go along. So first thing I'm going to do is start doing some of our panels. So I'm going to lay them out as they're going to appear on the card. So this is my layout. So this one is like this. And that just helps make sure we get the orientation right. To help with this, I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper because I'm going to be stamping off on some of these as well. Now these are red rubber stamps, so they've already got that cushioning in place, so you don't have to worry about using a Stampin' pierce mat. I've got my stamps already mounted on my blocks, and I'm using my large one and the two smaller ones, and I'm just using that friend one there as well. Now with these, I'm actually going to change it up. So this time I'm going to use my main image in a lighter colour with the darker overlay. So it's a large stamp. So I just come and tap all over with that image. And then I'm just going to pop that right on the top there. And look, you get this distinctive, so you get the beautiful shading already in those leaves as well. I'm then going to do the same with the little two-step. And just stamp those. I'm going to use my Orchid Oasis for my friend, so I want that deeper shade so that sentiment will stand out. I'm just going to use my grid paper to line that up. And obviously you could use you could use your Thinking of You on one of your larger images if you wanted to as well. And then I'm going to use that same colour of Starry Sky. No, I'm not even going to use Starry Sky. I'm going to use my Fresh Frisia on the bottom here again to create a background. And just by angling those stamps slightly, you can change the look of it. Add an extra one in on the edge there as well to change that. I could have perhaps dropped that one down very slightly. Would have been good. And then my final piece is this one here. And here is where I'm going to use both my deeper colour for the bottom I'm then going to use those post-it note masks to just cover over those images. I'm going to stamp off for this one, and I'm just going to pop that coming in from the side there. Got a bit of a where I've rocked a little bit on that one, not good. So I'm just going to quickly wipe my stamp. So I'm just going to come in now and again over stamp those. So I'm going to pop my post-it note up here and stamp. Like so. And there we have just a fun panel. Now to correct that, what I will probably do is I will either use an eraser on that, or I will probably use an embellishment to cover it over. There we go, right. This is actually my glue eraser. Let's try that. I've probably got a sand eraser. That's going to lighten it slightly actually. So that I'll then I'll pop some embellishments over that in a minute. Okay, so now we've got our panels. So I didn't say what size these panels were. That would have been helpful. Okay, so the size of these panels then. Okay, so we have got our layers are. So this one is 7.5 by 7.5 centimetres. This one is 5.5 by 4 centimetres, 9 by 5.5 centimetres, and 7.5 by 5.5 centimetres. So you can see that's the same width, but just trimmed a bit shorter as this one. Okay, so those are your 4 panels. Now you want your panels to layer those up on. So I've gone for, this one is 8 by 8 centimetres, and I've got some, what have I got? I've got some Starry Sky. So I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back there. My next one, this panel, I'm going to be, and that's going to layer onto this one. This panel here, so this one is 6 by 4.5. And I'm popping that on. This next one is 9.5, no, it's not that one at all. This one is 9.5 by 6. So again, just that ½ centimetre. I will do dimensions in inches as well for you. I just haven't quite got around to that. But basically, I'll give you the white panel and the one that needs scoring as well. So there's our panel with my fresh freesia. And then the last one, this is 8 by 6 centimetres. Okay, so having layered those up, keep those to one side. We now want to do our actual flaps for them. So you're going to grab your scoreboard or your trimmer, and I'll give you on all of them, you're scoring the long edge at 1 centimetre. So this first panel is 9.5 by 8.5, and you're just going to score at 1 centimetre on the right hand side for that one. The second panel is 7.5 by 5 centimetres, Again, score the long edge. This third panel is 11 by 6.5. Again, score them along at 1 centimetre. And our final one is 9.5 by 6.5. And when you do it in inches, you'll be scoring at 1/2 inch on the long edge of each of those. You then want some DSP, so you need to decide which one you want, and I'm going to trim this to 14.5 by 14.5. So that's going to be my centre panel. And then we want some inner pieces of DSP as well, which I haven't cut yet. So you're going to want the first piece, which is 8 by 8 centimetres. You want one that is 6 by 4.5. Actually, this one. Yes, this one. So cut that at 8 and then trim that to 6 centimetres. Yeah, this is to make the most of your DSP. So that's that bottom one. And again, the nice thing is you can orient it differently. You want a piece that's 6 by 4.5 and a piece that's 9.5 by 6 as well. So if we trim that down to 6, let's have a think. Right, I want one that's 9.5 by 6 and that's 4.5 by 6. Yes, so trim it to 6, and you want a piece that is 9.5, like so, and a piece that is 4.5 by 6. So there's your 6. You just trim that down to 4.5. So basically this card can be made with 2 pieces of DSP and some cardstock. So on to the next bit. Now we want to start creating our card. So what I say, I've got 2 pieces of card that are 15 by 15 centimetres, and this one is going to be my base layer, which is going to be the inside of the card. But before I attach my DSP, we want to take those pieces we've just scored, and on all of them I'm just going to take a tiny bit off the corner. You're then going to attach these around the outside of the card, like so. Yeah, can you see? So that's going, I'm gluing it on the back here, and that way that's going to be covered up by your second piece of card. You're going to have a nice layer on the inside, and it also provides just a tiny bit of gap to make sure that that they don't sort of clash with each other. So you're going to line those up on each of them, and you can see it just creates a tiny little bit of a gap there for your to make sure it's all nicely trimmed. So again, with these, grab your bone folder because you want them to be nice and flush as well when those fit on. And again, I do this, the way I've done this is to sort of lay it out so I remember which orientation it's in as well. So again, like so. Okay, so once we've done that, we can start gluing them. So I'm going to use my, just a bit of Tombow. I'm going to open this out. That first one was probably not visible to you. Might have just been. Here we go. And once I've done that, you'll see here, I'm just going to pop it in there, and because it's wet glue, I'm just going to line that up on the outside edge of my card. The same here. So those nice straight edges are going to fit in there. And it's just kind of almost like a pinwheel, really. Just make those nice and flush to the outer edge. And then my final one comes in here. So yes, this is actually Starry Sky, I should have said. So this is my Orchid Oasis, and then you've got Starry Sky, that deeper shade in there as well. You'll see there, we've got those nicely lining up. So once you've done that, we can add our panels to the inside. And as I said, if you wanted to, you could actually, rather than using DSP, you could stamp the inside of this with the Gingko flower, and that would be great if you wanted to leave it fairly blank. It would be great as a card where lots of people have got to sign, because in effect you've got lots of little pop-outs for people to sign. And as you can see, the DSP here is just the reverse of it, just that slightly less defined pattern. And on this one, I'm going to turn it to the opposite direction, just for fun, just because I can. There we go. And now we're ready to add our front panels. So just make sure you've got the orientation correct. So you've got your big square panel on the top left. We're going to add our bottom left. Certainly if you've got someone who's a plant lover, you could, you know, easily change this colourway up if you wanted a more masculine card. Or I say, if you've got a plant lover, this would be great for them with these Gingko leaves. And then finally, oh, don't do that. Making sure they're all nice and firmly adhered before you flip it over. As you can see, it doesn't look particularly attractive on the back there at the moment, but all I'm going to do is add this piece of card. Putting a fair amount of glue because you want it to cover up those joins, and that just fits exactly over the top, covering up those little tabs. So as I've said, all I'm going to do now is hopefully find some rhinestones, because those are what happens to be at the hand. I'm going to put a trio of rhinestones on there. And and now, oh gosh, what have I forgotten to do? I've forgotten to add my die cuts. What an idiot. Okay, so let's quickly do that before we finish. You know, it's like when you kind of look and kind of go, this card looks a little bare. This is why. So I've used, let's say, our double-sided adhesive sheets for these. And usually those just pop, as you can see, those just pop out. So the reason you do this before you add is because you want to make sure that, there we go, on that one I'm fine. I've just added it over the top there. It is going to be more tricky for my other one though, because of I've already cut that to size. So what I'm going to do is have a quick look, and I'm going to mark on it. So this is what I would do, having made a bit of a mistake. I'm going to mark where I need to cut on those. So I'm just going to pop a little mark on each of those. Grab my trimmer and I will line that up with those two marks in the track. So you can see here I've just lined those up and cut across. So now I'll come in and, I don't know what I've done with my pokey tool and my take your pick bit. So let's now pull that off. Now you can see with these, if you haven't got multi-purpose adhesive sheets, the beauty of this particular die is you've got several spots where you could actually attach it without using the multi-purpose sheets, because you could actually add glue to these large panels here. So, you know, don't worry about it, or if you're not sure about using the sheets, and all that will do is that will enable some of those to be a little bit freer and not sticking up. Or you can use, obviously, other methods of adhesive as well. And then all I'm going to do is now layer that over the top of my stamped panel. And all of a sudden my card is now coming to life the way I wanted it to. So there we go. Just goes to show we all make mistakes. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I do think the Gingko branches is a lovely bundle, and don't forget this is now a shorter catalogue, so this only runs till April. So if you want to get items from this catalogue, then get your order in sooner rather than later. Drop me an email if you want to place an order, or when you get to the checkout, just make sure that you find a demonstrator and look for me, Heidi Smith, and choose me as your demonstrator. Then I can send you a thank you card next month. So here we are. We're team Orchid Oasis Starry Sky on this one, or there's my original one. There we go. I think I probably prefer this one. I prefer the darker die cuts on the lighter background, but let me know what you think, and come back and see me again soon. Take care. Bye for now.